They'll be fine.
I love being able to improvise at the last minute. It's perfect.
Yes, yes, yes. So we were supposed to go live in my group, but we're having some technical difficulties. I can't figure out how to give my group permission to have this going live. So we're just going to record it and you guys will have the replay. We were going to leave the replay up anyways. So this is fine. We just had to improvise, like she said, last minute. So thank you, Alicia, for being here. I'm so excited to have you and ask these questions. Because I think a lot of people in my group would be really interested to hear from you because, you know, they hear from me, but I think it's really cool to really get to talk to my mentor and like somebody that I've worked with to get like the inside scoop of like how this stuff was created, where it started, and how anyone can do it. And like, I just love that. So I'm really, really glad that you're here and you're willing to share your story with us a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for sitting down with me. This is fun.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited. So, for anybody, I have like a question for like some people that might feel like maybe they're starting their healing journey, right? Maybe they're feeling a little skeptical. Maybe they're feeling like this is kind of strange, like, especially if they're looking into like the holistic side of healing, right? And they're like, I don't know, like, is that real? Like, what is this? Like, I don't know. Is it magic? What is this? Right. So, can you kind of tell me, like, how did you start? Like, I know I had my own skepticism when my healing journey started. So, like, where were you? Like, what was going on? And then what kind of like led you down this journey of like holistic healing and energy work to get where you are now?
Yes, I think most of us who are in this world have some kind of a story, of how we arrived here. And for me, I was raised in a really religious upbringing, really amazing, incredible parents who were kind of hippies, but they were Christian hippies. And so I was raised with, that belief system very strongly and lived my life that way until I was 38. And I call it a perfect storm of awakening because I had multiple things happen in my life that kind of created a crisis of faith for me. And I found myself in a position where I literally could no longer believe the things that I had believed my whole entire life. And it was like the bottom fell out from under my world. And at the same time, as I was going through this, my husband of 20 years passed away from pancreatic cancer. And that created a whole ripple effect of just really recognizing how miserable I had been for the last 20 years and things that I hadn't faced. And so I was just suddenly sitting with this overwhelming amount of anger and grief. And I had no way to process it because my belief system had fallen out, had gone away. And so I just sort of went on a very intense journey of trying to figure out what it was that I believed. And I had a really good friend at that time who was already into energy healing and introduced me to a theta healer. And I had some sessions with him, and he worked very differently from, at the time I didn't know it, but very differently from any other theta healer I'd ever known. He would make noises and sigh and make weird faces, and I was like, what is going on here? I don't know about this. But after a couple of sessions with him, I felt dramatically different. I felt a sense of peace that I hadn't felt since I was a child, and my life started to change. And I was like, I want to know more about this. And so I started learning everything that I could get my hands on. And at the time, I had no money. And so I would go to the library, and this was in 2009 or so, 2009 to 2010, around that time. So the internet wasn't what it was today. It's hard to imagine life without that resource, but it really wasn't the way that it is now, even that short of amount of time ago. So I would go to the library and I would check out literally every single book in the 158 Dewey Decimal System of the library. If people still use that, I don't know. And I learned everything I could possibly learn about spirituality. And I started taking classes then. My first class was a theta healing class. It was $500. And that was an insurmountable amount of money for me at that time. I saved up for months to take that class, but it changed my life. And it was the beginning of where I am now.
Yeah, I love that. I can really relate to your story when you're talking about I was also in a Christian upbringing. And I came to a point where like things kind of started to fall apart there. And I got kind of lost like in this like, well, I'm kind of mad. I'm kind of mad about religion. So I'm just not going to believe anything. Right. So that was kind of like my high school years. And then my dad passed away unexpectedly of a heart attack. And it sent me, I was like, I just couldn't accept it. You know, like I couldn't accept that he was gone and that I was only 20 years old and that I wasn't going to have him. So that kind of, I didn't know it. But it was kind of also my beginning of like, I need to learn more about spirituality. I need to connect somehow. I need to find him. So I love that. I can really relate to that. So now you have created something that's called Sacred Soul Alignment, right? So can you kind of tell me like what is that? What is Sacred Soul Alignment?
That's a good question. I get that a lot. So, Sacred Soul Alignment is basically a compilation of right now about 450 energy packets that I call alignments. And when I named this modality in 2017, I chose the word alignment for a couple different reasons. One reason was to distance myself from some people who were using the word activation, and but they are basically activations. And the other reason is it perfectly describes what's happening when we are receiving this energy, and that is that it is aligning us to the frequency of whatever that particular alignment is doing. So it's either clearing things that are of a lower frequency or bringing in energies that are of a higher frequency, or both.
Yeah, I love that. And that's kind of what I try to describe the best I can, because obviously you're the creator, so you're going to be able to describe it the best. So how I've always described it to my clients, I was like, because I'm a Reiki master too. So and then because of you, I learned about theta healing. So now I'm learning more about theta healing, and it's like it's just this combination of all these types of energy work that I can like wrap my mind around. It makes so much sense to me when I put it that way. And but I the best way that I can describe it too is like it helps you activate what needs to be activated. It helps you get into alignment with that. And then it helps you clear anything that's no longer serving you, the lower frequencies, the things that might be holding you back. It clears all that out. So yeah, I love that. Thank you. That was a perfect description. Thank you. So
Yeah, and just
how,
sorry. Just one more
no,
thing
you're
that I don't talk about a lot, but I'm feeling called to mention this to your audience because I feel like you have an audience that some of you might have a deeper understanding or deeper questions. One of the reasons why that's working so well is that I call it an energy packet because there are many different basically lines of code that are happening within that energy packet, and many of those are actually specific beliefs that are getting cleared through a process that's kind of similar to theta healing. I use sacred light healing tools, which is something else that I co-created with my best friend. So there's literal beliefs programming that's false that's getting cleared, and trapped emotions, embedded emotions, trauma. So you mentioned theta healing. That was my beginning, or you brought that back around to theta healing. That was my beginning,
yeah.
and that was my first understanding of our programming and how much that affects our reality. So that's one of the things that's happening in those energy packets.
Yes, I love that. And I love that. Yeah, I like that your beginning was theta healing, and it's like you kind of led me to theta healing. So it's like because it just all kind of goes together. And so now it's just like now I'm able to take all of this information and kind of I'm just like having a new understanding because I learned Reiki first and then I found you. Well,
Yeah.
actually what's funny is I found you first, but you I think were so advanced for me at the beginning that I was just like, or at least it felt advanced. I didn't really have an
Yeah.
understanding, if that makes sense. Like I
Yeah.
joined, I think, one of your master classes or something, and like I did it, and I just slept the whole time because it was so powerful. It was so
I hear that.
powerful.
Yeah.
Like I just listened to the
Reiki's a great
recording.
place to start.
Yes, it was just like I listened to the recordings and I just literally couldn't keep consciousness because it was just so powerful. So I ended up like meeting you first, or like not meeting you physically, but meeting your work first. And then I kind of just like kept it. What's crazy is I printed out all your pamphlets and I put it into a binder. And then like I moved on to like Reiki and then meditation. So now I'm Reiki master and a meditation instructor as well as a coach. And so then after I did all this and I had this really deep understanding of a whole bunch of new things, you came around again. Like, I don't know if it was like an email or whatever, but like you kind of came around back into my orbit. I did your class again. And this time I was able to stay awake. This time I was able to like really like have like really powerful shifts. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I want to collaborate with her. I want to work with her. Like, she's so powerful, like all these things. So then I was like,
That's
I'm gonna take her
amazing.
class. I'm gonna take her class. So now I'm a practitioner and I love it. I love that.
I love that. I didn't know that story. That's a testament to how much work you did in the interim that you're able to stay awake now.
Yes, yes, it is. It's a powerful work. So yeah, for anybody that wants to go check her out, and like if you guys do any of her classes and you can't stay awake, don't give up. Like just keep going. Like you might just need like it's just new levels. Like I said, it was just because like you've described it, like if you fall asleep, it's just like it's almost too powerful for your conscious mind to handle. So your subconscious mind is going to take over. But eventually, like the more you repeat it and the more you learn and the more you advance and up level in yourself and like your spirituality, you're able to stay awake and be conscious through it and do it consciously, which is so powerful.
Exactly.
Both of it's powerful, but it's
Yes.
crazy. It's like a journey you go on if you're doing it consciously. Like it's crazy. Yeah, I love that. So for people maybe still feeling like it wouldn't work for them, right? Maybe there's some people in my audience that feel like, man, this probably wouldn't work for me. I'm just a typical person. Like, how is this going to happen for me? Kind of deal. Would you share a little bit about maybe some clients that you've taken on, maybe a testimonial that is just deep to your heart, like just how anyone can do this? Is there any story that kind of comes to your mind that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really common question, actually, because there's nothing that you need to do when you're receiving this work, or really even when you're using these alignments. It's so simple. And so I get that question a lot. If it's so easy, how is it working? How is it working so profoundly? And so skepticism, I always welcome it because it's always a great opportunity to show somebody how powerful this work is. Um, a couple of things come to mind. So I work with a lot of people who have had trauma. And it's kind of funny because when I was a little girl, I really wanted to be a child psychiatrist and work with abused children. And then my life went in a different direction. But I feel like it's come back around to that because the majority of people that I have worked with privately have some kind of trauma in childhood. And that creates any number of issues later on in life: depression, anxiety, health issues, patterns that we keep recreating that are painful. And so I work with a lot of people that have anxiety and depression, and I have helped countless people get off of medication, move out of that energy, and it happens pretty quickly. And the most common thing that I do for people that are struggling with that is give them a 2-minute recording and tell them to listen to every time they brush their teeth in the morning, at night. And I've seen dozens and dozens of people shift just from that. But I worked with a client several years ago who is now a sacred soul alignment practitioner. But at the time that I was working with her, she had had just unspeakable childhood trauma and had been suicidal since about the age of 10 years old, and she was in her 30s. And in 3 sessions, she was completely well. Really, it was a huge shift after the first session, but we worked together three sessions is all. And after that point in time, her suicidal thoughts and feelings were completely gone, and they never returned. And she loved it so much. She's a coach, that she came on to be a practitioner so that she could use this work with her clients. And she's still in my world, and her life was completely transformed. And that's, we see those declarations like on weight loss commercials, results not typical, but I would say those kind of results really are typical with sacred soul alignment. They create pretty profound shifts, especially in the way that we feel in our life. And that's how we change our life. Everything starts with our feelings and our thoughts that are created by our feelings. So if we can shift out of those lower vibratory states, that puts us in the driver's seat of being able to create what we really want to experience in our life. So that's one story that always comes to mind when people ask me about that. But I have so many stories of things that have transformed for people.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And I'm a testament to that too. I was your student and now I'm a practitioner. And I'm doing this for my clients. I mainly coach, right? But I offer this as like a thing for my clients. It's like another tool that I get to use, because sometimes we get stuck when we're working through whatever we're working through, right? We feel like we can't do it. So this is a wonderful thing to bring into place for that, for me, for my clients. And I've helped so many people shift, and I've got interviews with them too, that are inside my
Love
group
it.
as well, like about how they shifted out of depression and anger because of an abusive relationship they experienced. Or they were kind of similar to me. I had a narcissistic and empath like pattern that was forming, and there was just a
Yes.
lot of abuse. And so I work with several women that have had that pattern going on. I've been helping them break that. And so they were actually out of the relationship. Their life was pretty good, going well, but it was just in their mind. It could not leave their mind. Like, so I helped them shift. And now, like within 2 weeks of just doing sacred soul alignment work with them, they got their new job. They got their like dream job. They were like, just their whole life was transforming. They got a new car. They got all this help. They got all these
Amazing.
things. It was awesome. So like, yes, I'm a total testament to that. So yes, I can 100% confirm that it, and I think it's like, it goes back to like your openness too, a little bit. Like, maybe it
Yes.
takes a couple of sessions, but it can really happen like in the first one or the first couple, if you're really open to it, or like just going to give yourself that shot, right? Like, if you can just be like,
Absolutely.
what, I'm ready to just put some faith into myself and to what I'm like being called to do here. And then like
Yeah.
that can create like that instantaneous shift, right? Like, because that's how it was for me. It's like I got to rock bottom, and it's like, all right, well, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I had a lot of self-doubt, but I just started researching it, and I did it. And I was just like, I'm just going to give myself a chance. And I just gave a little bit of faith to myself, and it was just profound. And it was so quick, like the shifts, and they're still quick, because now like I have less self-doubt, right? And so like I'm still healing, and I'm still doing all these things and just learning and advancing, because that's just like, I'm sure you are too, right? Like you
Yes.
keep advancing and doing all these things. So it's just, I love that. I love that story, because I can totally relate and testify to that as for myself as well. So can you kind of describe maybe some of the benefits, or like from either just receiving this type of healing for yourself? Like, let's say, maybe, like I said, maybe they don't want to be a practitioner, maybe they just want some work done for themselves, right? Or maybe they do want work done for themselves and to become a practitioner. Either way, what kind of benefits or changes could they maybe expect to have, or how can it help them? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. So I have a lot of people that come through the class just because they want to do their own self healing. And in fact, I'm going to be making an announcement a little bit later today, actually, about some changes that I'm making to the courses that I have to really address self healing, because our self healing is the most important work that we will ever do, no matter if we're working with tens of thousands of people. Our own self healing is the most important and the most impactful in the world. And so, really, Sacred Soul Alignment, the tools with this modality, how it can transform your life is really infinite. It's unlimited. So it all starts really with going back into childhood, because that's where we begin to have our experiences in this life, and we're in the theta brain state the first 5 or 6 years of our life. And so that creates our programming that we then live with for the rest of our lives. So sacred soul alignments really address, well, they're multidimensional. So they're addressing experiences that we've had in this lifetime. They're addressing the things that we inherited through our DNA from our parents, traumas, belief systems, emotions, patterns, physical issues, and then in all other soul incarnations as well, and everything that we've taken on from the collective. But really starting with what we experienced in childhood, and whether people remember it or not, it doesn't matter. You don't have to drag up all this old trauma and re traumatize yourself. And so just really repatterning the programming that we took on as children that are actually creating our lives now. As I'm 52 years old. So I don't really want my 4-year-old self in the driver's seat of my life with that programming. But that's what happens to us as, children that take on this programming, especially if we live in an environment that is traumatic, then it really puts us at, off on the wrong path. And so sacred soul alignments go in and they reprogram us to programming that is actually more in alignment with our soul, dissolving that false programming that tells us we're unworthy, that tells us life isn't safe, that tells us life is painful. And it, at the same time, is dissolving those embedded traumas, those embedded emotions. And so whatever that those patterns and that programming is creating in our lives, whether that's painful relationships, stories of lack and cycles of even poverty and struggle and suffering, or pain and diseases and disorders in our bodies, we can shift those things by reprogramming ourselves. And so oftentimes what I see is people feel different initially emotionally. Life doesn't seem so hard. They wake up feeling happier, feeling hopeful, feeling more grateful. And then that cascades on to creating more and more experiences in our lives that reflect back love to us, that reflect back abundance, that reflect back our own self-worth and even our own divinity. So anything can be transformed with this work. It truly can.
Yes, yes, no, and I totally understand that. But I love that I can ask you these questions because not only like does it help my audience understand, but it really like it's kind of crazy. Like I'm kind of excited for the shifts that you're making in your course because when I came in, it was kind of like I'm really glad I had the previous trainings that I did because it was kind of a lot to take in, but I was
Yeah.
ready for it. You know what I'm saying? But now, like when you were talking about shifting, it's like it sounds like you're going to have some different levels to help people because even level one was really freaking advanced. And I
I
got
hear
that.
that a lot. Yes, I hear that a lot, and I've had people say this is like a fire hose of information, and it's in the previous incarnation of this class, it was a 12-week certification class, and I'll go ahead and give a little clue about an announcement I'm making here in a couple of hours. But level one is no longer going to be the certification. It's going to be all about self-healing. And it's so important. And I've tried to do that simultaneously with the certification, but I've just really strongly been guided recently that it's so important and vital for us to clean up our own stuff so that we can be a much more of a clear channel for receiving accurate information so that we can work with other people without getting triggered by our own stuff, and so that we can really open up. When we clear out those traumas and clean up our own stuff, it blows our intuition and our psychic and healing abilities wide open. That's just a natural effect of it. And then to just really learn how to meditate and get into that theta brain state and access the quantum field, because that's where everything exists. That's where healing is co-created. So I'm excited about the changes.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. Because like I said, I think I did really well with it, like being level one. And I'm thankful that level one was the certification when I went through it because it was what I needed. It was the
You were
level that I
ready.
needed. I
Yes.
was ready for it, but I can definitely see how if somebody has never been certified to be a coach or a meditation instructor or learned any other type of energy healing like theta or Reiki, that they would come in and it would just be like, what is this? Like it's great. And it does teach you how to self-heal. But like I said, I feel like I only comprehended a lot of it because of all the other certifications I had before.
Exactly. And then what I also have seen is a lot of people having kind of a healing crisis around week 3 or 4 because all their stuff is coming up because now they have the tools to deal with it, and that's what happens. And so
Yeah.
let's do all of that before you get into that place of learning something new.
Right, right. Yes. And so yeah, like so now it's kind of you're kind of doing a sort of a similar form to like the Reiki experience. It's like level one is like you have to learn how to do it for yourself, period. And then
Yeah,
level two is now you can do it for yourself and others. And then level three, I don't know if you'll ever create like a level three where because I
I
know for
do.
you
Yes.
so well
Yeah.
like so the level three with Reiki is like where you become a master. And so like it would be like I could attune people to be practitioners. Do you have that level too?
Ah, I've had a lot of people ask me that. I'm not ready to hand that over quite yet.
Yeah, yeah.
But level 3 is coming, and it's going to be more of a mentorship type of a class where I'm going to work with people to create their own signature programs and some other higher level tools that they'll get.
Cool. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah. So yeah, so cool. It sounds like you might eventually have some of like all of that, but you've just got yours is a lot. I feel like it's I don't want to say it's more advanced than Reiki, but it is in some certain ways, because Reiki is more just like healing touch, where you're literally going into like the meditation, like hypnosis, theta brain process, and then also doing this energy healing that you can combine with healing touch and other things.
Yeah.
So it is more advanced, but it's like the same, it's still the same like family, right?
Yes, and they pair really well together. I'm not Reiki certified, but I would estimate at least a third of the sacred alignment practitioners are also Reiki practitioners.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. So, my next question for you is if you had 1 to 3, so maybe one or a couple of things that you could recommend to people that are beginning their healing journey, maybe they don't know where to go, like where could they start? Like, what would you like? Are there any tips or any actions that you think are just really important to you that really helped you like start and then kind of get going, build that momentum?
Yes, absolutely. So the number one thing I would say for people is meditation. Getting into that meditative state, calming your mind, calming your body, and connecting to source, and just sitting in that energy for as long as you possibly can. And maybe that's 1 minute, maybe
Mhm.
that's 5 minutes, but do it consistently every day and it will change your life. And you are a meditation coach, so I'm sure you have lots of tools that you can
Yes.
hook people up with. That's the most important thing that I do still to this day. I have a very regular meditation practice, and when I miss it, I notice.
Oh, I
And
can totally, I can relate to that. Yeah.
yeah, it's important, and it's free and it's easy and we can all do it, but
Yep.
sometimes we have to start a little bit slower. When I first started meditating, I couldn't even ground.
Yep.
I was in such a frazzled state. I couldn't even get myself to calm down. And so I would do it for like 30 seconds or a minute. And, now I sit in meditation for an hour. So that would be my number one tip. And then, second to that, I would say pick a practice that you will do consistently, whatever that is. Whether that's listening to a healing recording or journaling, or, there's infinite number of spiritual practices that we can do. But the key is to do it consistently. So something that you enjoy doing and that you can do on a daily basis.
Yep.
And then three, I would say before you get out of bed in the morning, just taking a moment to connect in with what I call my divine aspect, which is the highest aspect of our soul that's guiding us through this human experience, just through your intention, and then just connect in, get into your heart. Heart Math is a institute that's amazing, and they have so much science-based information. You can check that out, heartmath.org. And just really getting into your heart just through your breath and your intention, and then connecting to your own guidance system, your divine aspect or higher self, whatever you want to call that. And then also connecting from your heart just by you know keeping your awareness on your heart, from your heart into source. And I call this the heart of creation. And this is really helping us to access the quantum field. And that's kind of a buzzword out there. People talk about the quantum field and people don't often know what that means exactly. But that's pure source energy is what that is. And that's where everything already exists. And I'm going to actually be talking a lot about this in my masterclass that's coming up that I'm sure you can share the link to join that with your audience. But that's where everything is created, and we live in matter. We live in this three-dimensional world of matter, but it's the quantum field that's creating that matter, not the other way around. But we flip that because this is our experience. This is all we know. This is what we can see and touch. But it's not matter creating the quantum field. It's the quantum field creating matter. And so when we tap into that space, magic happens. I mean, we can create miracles from that
Yeah,
space.
I love
So
that. I love that description. Because like sometimes we do, that's the ego, really, right? It's like we think that when we meditate and we go out, it's like, oh, we figured this out, right?
Right, right, right.
The other way around. I love that. I
Yes.
love that.
And that's just human nature, because this is what we know. And um, connecting to energy and all of these things can be unfamiliar to people when we first learn about it, but it's actually our true nature. It's where we
Yep.
come from. And so when you really sink into that and really get familiar with that, you realize, hey, I know this already. It's familiar. I'm home, is what it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love all of your tips. Those I would 100% recommend to everyone as well. I back those 100%. A meditation that maybe you try, or maybe what you do to just kind of get that going, like the one that you were explaining to start with. This is one that I kind of started with. I'm just going to briefly explain it just for anybody that may not know where to start, because I know like that's like one of my most common objections when I recommend meditation is I don't know how. I don't know where to start. I can't calm down. So if you can just take 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, just build yourself up and do it once a day, just closing your eyes. And can you feel your toes? Can you feel the bottoms of your feet on the ground? Can you feel your bottom in your chair? Can you feel the back laying against your chair? Can you feel your arms resting? Can you feel like your ears and like your head, and like just tune into the awareness of your body? It's fun. It's kind of fun. And it's kind of like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could feel like every inch of myself, right? That is consciousness. And when we tap into this of ourselves, we're tapping into that consciousness, which is source, which is what Alicia is talking about. So that's a wonderful, quick, and easy meditation that actually is really fun. And I know anyone can do it. I've guided people through it multiple times. And it's just something you can do 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes a day, and just build yourself up. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to think about anything except for feeling your body and just connecting into that consciousness of yourself.
I
Yeah. So I
love
love.
that so much because a lot of people think that meditation is emptying our mind, and that's nearly impossible for most people, and especially when you're starting out, because we have 50 to 60,000 thoughts running through our mind every day. And so if we're supposed to just turn those off automatically, that's simply not going to happen. So if you have something to focus on, then that's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, it helped. It changed. It brought like more focus and more energy to myself. Whereas like when I was in that trauma response and in that stress state, I was always just like so worried about everything else. I almost couldn't even think straight. It's like there was just so much noise. And it's like I was just like moving through the day. It's like I would go to work 9 to 5, come home, watch TV. And then if I had to think about myself, I had a struggle. I would just go to marijuana, and I would just go to marijuana,
Yeah.
and I would watch my TV. I would do these things. But now I'm completely sober. I've actually just hit my 1 year mark, and I can just
Congratulations.
connect it to my body. And I'm not really like, I can tune, like, obviously as a reader and an energy healer, I can tune into other people, but that's my choice now. It's not
Yes.
automatic. It's not like I'm absorbing them anymore. I get to choose when I step into somebody else's field. Otherwise, I'm mainly focused on me, myself, and I just love that. I never had that before, and that meditation that I just described was the key. It was the beginning to get me there. Of course,
I love
along with
that.
everything else that I learned, but that was one of the beginning things that actually helped me do that. So
Beautiful.
yeah, I love that. So where what do people need to do if they want to find you? And you've been mentioning your master class that's coming up, so tell us a little bit about that. And of course I will give the link to anybody that wants a master class. If you want to see the master class, I'll put it in the comments. I'll put it out there, but comment master class if you want to check out her master class, and I will get you guys the link to that. But go ahead and share where we can find you, and a little bit more about this master class, please.
Perfect. So if you're on Facebook, which you probably are if you're watching this in Heather's group, I have a group called Sacred Soul Alignment with Alicia Hartzell. I started this group way back in 2015, and there's a lot going on in there. I do a lot of different healing and events and different things. And I have a brand new masterclass that is happening at the end of April, the 26th, 27th, and 28th. And it's really helping you become a manifesting alchemist using sacred soul alignment. And so I'm going to be doing a lot of cleanup work the first 2 days. The first day, we're going to be really addressing programming, dissolving that. And then the second day, emotions, particularly working with the emotion of anger, because that's such a big one for so many people. And then the third day, we're going to be really tapping into that quantum field to co-create what it is that you desire, to help you really step into becoming a manifesting alchemist. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it. And I'd love to see whoever resonates with that there. And we'll share your link, Heather.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited. I'll be there.
Yay.
So yeah, I'll share the link, and then I can also probably share the link to the group. So we've got the group. I'll have the masterclass link, or when you click on the masterclass link, will it just direct you to the group?
It will, yes. You will get a link in your email to join the group.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll get that link from you so I can share it with anybody who is resonating with that and interested in being in Alicia's world. She's amazing. I love her, and I'm so honored that she was willing to come here to share with you guys. This is such a treat for me, and I hope it's just as much of a treat for you guys, which I think a lot of you were really interested in this. So I'm excited for you guys to get to hear about this and learn a little bit more. She blew my mind, so I know she's going to blow yours too. So, do you want that to just be like the main way people can find you, or do you have like what's like your common Facebook link? Is it just your name, Alicia Hartzell, or
Yeah, that's my personal profile, which has, I think I have links to everything on there. And then if you're interested in checking out Sacred Soul Alignment, it's just sacredsoulalignment.com, and you can look at the class that I have. A couple of classes are up there on that website, and then you can look at some of the practitioners that are listed on the website, and I've got some blog posts up there. So that's just sacredsoulalignment.com.
Perfect. And I will, like I said, I'll have that master link. So when you see this replay, just comment master class if you want that, and I'll send you guys the link to the master class. So I'm super excited. Thank you so much, Alicia. Is there anything else? Do you have any last words that you wanted to share before we wrap up?
Well, thank you. I love getting to sit down and talk to you personally and see what you're doing. And you're doing some incredible things out there. So it's just an honor to see that ripple effect taking place.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, no, I love it. Thank you so much for being a part of my journey. Like, I have so much respect and love for you. So I'm really grateful for you. So we'll see you guys next time. And I hope you guys resonate with this and you guys deepen this, go further into it, learn more about it, because it's changed my life, and I know it can change yours too, just as many. It's changed many. She's worked with so many people. So you're not an exception. Your life can change. You deserve abundance and health and healing. You deserve it all. Like, there's not one of you that's an exception to that. So we will see you guys later. I hope you guys enjoyed this interview, and I can't wait to hear your feedback.